What are you doing, man? It's just a good boy. I'm from Liverpool, mate, but Ozzy Osbourne.
Although he's been perfect, yeah.
The other Beatle.
Yeah.
Well, what was it funny? What was that drummer from the Beatles? The first one, something the best. But he put out an album.
Pete Best.
That was it, yeah. And then he put out the album that he got sued for that said "Best of the Beatles"
Yeah.
because it was supposed to be best of the Beatles.
Yeah, it was clever.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Clever as hell.
Well, it's just hilarious that somebody sued him over it though. Like, really?
Yeah, that's money to be made. Oh,
Everything
we're
went
live?
right? Yeah, we're live.
Hey! What's happening, everybody? Welcome to Flipside Music, the Great American Guitar Store, located here
Deep in the heart of Colorado.
yes, Clear Skies, Colorado.
Yes.
Well, at least for the time being.
Well, yeah. So yeah, we were
Everybody's losing
getting
their mind.
well, we were getting blasted with smoke from the Canadian Fire, but now it's all back where you're from. So.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like family members. Holy crap! Look at this. I'm like, yeah, we deal with that.
It's a
all the
summer
time.
thing,
Like
right,
that's
for us.
normal for us.
Yeah.
So you guys enjoy yourselves.
Yes.
Because that's normal for us. Anyway, welcome to Flipside Music. What the F.A.Q? Question and answer show, weekly show. Those of you guys that are here clearly are all the people that already know that shit. So, well, we got demonetized. Well, we're not.
No, we're good. We made it past the minute mark.
Beauty. Well, maybe that's how we do it. We just do the
Yeah.
streams coming soon. That way, as soon as we go in, I can
We're already okay.
I can F-bomb right out the gate and nobody cares.
Okay. Well,
What?
Jeff says there's an echo.
How is there an echo?
I don't know. Cause we didn't change anything. Literally since last week.
So we didn't change. Nothing's been changed. How do are you guys sure there's an echo?
Saying lots of reverb.
Lots of reverb. What the? We've done nothing. All right. Well, Dylan's on the case.
Yeah. See if I cut that. Does it?
So this sounds good then.
Yeah. How the fuck is there an echo?
Echo, echo, echo. Definitely an echo.
Well, see, the thing is, too, there's like an 8-second delay between them and us, so.
It's like a slapback with reverb, is what he's saying. Or that's what Jacob at the Ghost.
No, they're saying it's good now.
Good
I didn't
now.
even touch anything.
Oh, there you go. Clear, clean.
Okay.
Bloody hell.
Whatever.
Oh, it's the Ghost of Ozzy Osbourne from
Birmingham.
I'm from Birmingham.
Okay. Can you beer me? Actually.
Sorry, it's just been a long week.
Yeah.
It has been a long week. Well, it's his Monday.
Well, it is my Monday,
and
but
it's almost my Friday. So,
Yeah.
But it's been a exhausting week. Yes, with a lot of nonsense and such. But anyway, welcome. Apparently the echo is gone, so now we're echo
apparently
free.
we mysteriously have an echo every once in a while.
We're in echo free
that goes
zone.
away on its own. I still don't know.
It's the ghost of Platte River.
Well, it's the ghost echo, but funny enough, I don't actually have the ghost echo on the board.
Platte River. Sorry,
That'd actually be kind of cool. Maybe. As long as it's a friendly ghost.
Casper, the friendly guitar ghost.
Yeah. Although being close to a river, who knows what could have happened. But
It's true. Well, we got no echo, so that's good. So welcome, guys. Part of Guitar Prime Time. We start out at 4 o'clock, then we hand this off over to our friends over at Texas Toast Guitars. They talk guitars and toast, and then it goes over to Dylan Talks Tone, who talks tone and maybe toast.
yes.
But,
We
but
can't-
never us.
We can't guarantee the order of the toast or the guitars.
Right.
Any guitar happenings this week? I don't have you.
Let's see.
Yeah.
In this week's news of nonsense, I don't know. Do you guys got any stuff? I basically feel like my head.
I feel like I heard about
my
something,
head has
but
been
I
in
don't.
the sand all week.
Yeah, I feel like I heard about something recently, but I don't remember what it was. Oh well, some of the stuff going on with
ESP.
well ESP, but the Neural, like the guys that make the Quad Cortex.
What's
Did you hear
going on
about that
with them?
shit? So apparently, like they're so if you have a Quad Cortex, when you register it, it's usually logged in and most of it's done. You can like even put it on your Wi-Fi and all that. So if it's plugged into anything that you have on your network, apparently there was a back door on it, and they didn't know about that. So apparently like 3,300 or so of their customers had like their Wi-Fi passwords, emails, names, phone numbers.
Oh, wow.
Now, luckily, the guy that did it to show that he could was a guy that had previously told them that they had the issue. So apparently, he was kind of trying to prove a point. So luckily, nothing ended up being. It didn't end up going to like somebody who was going to do some bad shit with it.
Oh, so
but he was a customer of theirs though that was kind of proving a point. Like, hey, you guys should probably fix this. And then he went ahead and just did that to kind of prove that, like, hey, it can be done.
Yeah, this could happen.
Yeah, and so that was kind of interesting. I have to say, because it's funny, we're getting ready to plug in like some very techie stuff, but I do have to say I draw the line at if you can get hacked because of your guitar rig, I'm done.
Yeah,
I'm like, as much as I love the technology part, if you can get hacked through your guitar rig, I'm
nobody's
done.
gonna get my, nobody's gonna get in my bank account through my Blues Junior.
Right, yeah, and that's where I'm at with that, because I'm like, I understand, because the Quad Cortex is pretty amazing. For anybody who doesn't know exactly what it is, easiest way to explain it is it's kind of like a profiler for like an entire rig, pretty much. So you can profile amps, pedals, cabs. You can also run, I think, up to 4 instruments at a time, so like a whole band could basically use it. But
Rabia's on with Neural, right?
I think so. Yeah. I mean, it's pretty interesting tech for sure. But like I said, I gotta, for me personally, I firmly gotta, because I have plenty of pedals that you gotta plug in to do different things with apps and stuff. But nothing that has to log into like my Wi-Fi or anything like that, or that's tied to my
hacked.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, so if you can get hacked through your guitar rig, that is where I draw the line. I do think it's a cool piece, but that's obviously something that's got to get
fixed.
I would not. I wouldn't be happy about that either. We gotta put this back.
I know.
I keep feeling like I'm looking over there, and then everybody's just looking at us looking over there. So one of these, we gotta fix that, or change the camera or some shit.
Yeah. Oh, and I forgot to turn any of the lights on. No, that's all right though.
Yeah, it's all good. We got the echo
more natural.
gone. Yeah. We're all we look brownish. I don't know. So anyway, Janice Lala's in here. What's happening? Ferd is in here. Dastardly Dave. He was the first one, I think.
Yes.
Who else we got? Ben Coombs, Canadian YouTuber and master of smoke. Take that for what you will.
Yes.
That could be multiple.
I don't know if he grow yet, because I was gonna say we could expand on his titles, but I don't know. I don't know if he. I mean, obviously he's a partaker of shrubberies. I don't know if he's a grower of fine shrubberies.
Partaker of smoke and soda pops.
Possible purveyor of fine shrubberies, maybe.
Fine Canadian shrubberies.
Right. Fine Canadian shrubberies.
They're very polite. You'll love them.
A nice one you can put right in.
Yeah.
Who else we got here? Charles75. Nothing here. Says something about AM radio hacks. My unshielded fuzz pedals.
That does happen to me as well. Actually, that and my treble boosters. Anything transistor based is kind of prone to that. But
Ryan Elias is here. What's happening, Ryan? Talked to dude yesterday. This goes out to Ryan specifically. I talked to somebody yesterday about the phones. He's going to go back to sales because we need wireless phones. And then they're going to ship them out, and then I'm going to get a hold of them when we are going to get everything attached. Just so you know, I'm speaking to you directly, Ryan, through the interwebs via the network that you helped put us together with.
yes.
Yes. Well, I did. I talked to the phone guy yesterday. He's like, well, I got these phones. I'm like, are they wireless? No. It's not going to work. Okay. So I'm like, all right. Yeah, I don't.
Well,
I don't
especially in
think
this day and age, I guess I didn't realize they even made. I guess that makes sense for like telling what, but still, so many of those are even like headsets now. I guess I just assumed they stopped making.
I guess I didn't even think about it until I was on the phone with them because we were just concerned about getting things hooked
It is
up.
such a weird, interesting in between period we're in right now with everything, like literally everything, whether it's guitar gear or phones or. I feel like there's just enough shit that people are still trying to hold on to from like the previous time because it did work. But then, it's on the other, because, I can't remember, I was talking to a customer the other day about, planned obsolescence and whether any of that will ever really apply to, some of the guitar stuff. And it's like, to a point, some of it does already, but by and large, we are lucky that we are kind of more in an industry where that's not really the thing. Most of the things are built with the idea that you're going to
That
have
you're
them for
gonna
a
use
long
them
time.
for 10 or 20
Yeah,
years.
yeah, so I was like, in that regard, I was gonna say, I feel like we're pretty lucky, because like, I imagine with certain industries, like, it's gotta be hard knowing that you're, like, if you're in the sales of those things, it's gotta be hard always knowing in the back of your head, like, this thing is planned to basically crap out after about a year to force them to get another
Well, once
one.
the warranty's done.
That, or it's they make it so that, some weird flaw that's not going to exist in the next model will be present in your model, so you have to get the next.
Yeah,
It's like a lot of that is
There's
just,
no way to fix that
Yeah.
in the next model because it's. Well, that's where software comes in.
Yes.
That makes it interesting as far as pedals, because I think about that with pedals. Because I still have some like analog stuff at the house. Like I have a washing machine that's probably 20 years old, the washer dryer combo.
Yeah.
I've been limping that thing together
Yeah.
for years, pulling the drum out, putting a new sensor in, having to put in a new thermostat, put in this, the that, because all of it, including my time, is cheaper than going out and buying a new stack.
yeah.
So that's what I do. I spend a couple hours of
Well, no, I
frustration
kinda get it, though,
in
'cause
doing
of-
it. But I know I can fix it because
Right.
all those parts are still available.
Right.
But if it was like a digital touchscreen washer dryer combo,
Yeah, there's a point or a threshold you can't get past. Yeah.
so
yeah.
so that translates into pedals.
What we're
To
looking
me,
at.
what we're about to look at,
Yeah.
it's got a screen. You got to plug it in to do a thing. Like, so how long is that going to be supported? I'm not saying it's bad, because these are great tools for doing recordings and
Well, I
putting
think
a lot of
actually going
things
back
into
to
one
the very
thing.
first thing that started what you said would be software, because like with this, like if you're making a hardware piece where the internal part of it can be changed or altered, then yeah, as soon as like if you want to add things, because like that is the thing with the LVX is like I have a feeling this is really just the beginning of it, and I don't think they would have. I might be wrong. I don't think they would really have a reason to change the hardware part of it. It would
Right.
really just be the software part
The
of
software,
it,
and then that
even
makes
the
sense,
software.
too.
Yeah, and then luckily with this, because all of it is on the pedal itself, it's not app based. The software, even if you had to update it, is just drag and drop. I mean, it's not any
Right.
different than dragging something to a thumb drive. It's literally the same exact thing. So I think with this, if anything, as they add things, they'll just do it via software. And I'm kind of excited to see where that goes, where like you have, a core piece, and then the other part of it can just kind of keep being sustained because you can keep adding things via the software. But yeah, it does bring up a good point. Yeah, how far does some of
Because
that?
at some point, like, when do you reach the capacity of a certain piece that it becomes obsolescent, right?
Well, yeah.
Obsolete.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just take the LVX. This is a great pedal, though. Just using it as an example.
No, but yeah, if we're getting into hypotheticals.
Yeah, if we're getting hypotheticals, how long is it going to last at the internals? Because what happens, like, in 5 years when they're making a supercomputer that's the size of a fucking pea? And then all of a sudden you have more computing capabilities, which in turn then gives you the option for more,
Yeah.
opportunities for different effects or different combinations or different things. If you could watch Netflix on this thing, you know what I mean? Like, there might be opportunity.
Yeah, I mean, I think if anything, some of the other companies like Eventide and Strymon that have been out long enough to kind of show, because like the Timeline and the Big Sky, I think, have been out more than 12 years now.
Yeah, it's been a long time.
Yeah, so, and I was going to say, they're still, yeah, they are kind of getting to the very furthest edge of being, well, it depends on what you're into, because I think they're very relevant for certain people. It just depends, like this is sort of taking all of those things and kind of giving you the ability to craft your, because really what you're doing is you're editing your own algorithms with this. And
Yeah,
that's a really
yeah.
wordy way of saying you're making your own effect, but really what Meris did is sort of, they took all the ancillary things that you would normally have with like modules, they put them all kind of in
Module.
order, and then you're essentially just dialing in your own effects like you would with like a synth or anything else. I think, like I said, I think with this, the main thing that they did that would be right is like you have the hardware, and hopefully you would just be updating the software. So if anything, I think this might have more sustainability than like the Timeline or the Big Sky because you could continue to further release.
To upgrade to another
Yeah.
version of software.
Yeah, and so there's other things, but yeah, I do see what you're saying. Like down the road, there's eventually going to be something that's going to kind of outdo this. It's just right now.
I don't know.
Yeah, no.
I mean,
If
who knows
anything, right
where
now, this
everything's
thing.
going, you know.
Well, yeah, because I think this thing is hitting right on the edge of, like kind of like I don't know how many we've talked about it quite a few times, but it was a few weeks ago when we were kind of talking about will there ever be any new effects, like actually new effects where people haven't heard before. I think the LVX right now would probably be one of the closest things that you can get to that because you can kind of make an amalgam of effects that you would never be able to really do unless you had a full array of pedals. So it's like calling it a multi-effect is kind of a misnomer because that's really not what it is. You're literally constructing your own effect out of all the pieces of other effects. So like you can make things that you've never heard because it physically wasn't possible before. That's where I think something like this comes in. Whereas like previous MIDI capable pedals, they do kind of have like the only thing they have going for them is their ability to save presets. Whereas like this, not only are you saving presets, but you're kind of crafting.
You can craft your own.
Yeah, it's because I think
Paint your own
Reverb.
picture.
Yeah, Reverb. Well, no, Mark Johnston had a good way because he did a pretty good video kind of comparing this to the microcosm, and he was basically saying like if the microcosm is more or less like colored pencils or crayons, then this is kind of paint. And like I've kind of been using that way to sum it up because it is. This thing is capable of you could make it sound like shit if that's what you wanted,
Right.
But you could also make kind of a masterpiece out of it. Whereas like the microcosm, you're kind of it's a really quick way to get like the things and the colors that you want, but you're kind of limited in the blending of those colors. Whereas like this kind of lets you just do whatever you want. Yeah.
All right, what do we got here?
Make sure and two-way.
So, Guitar Man says, so Ben, EVH Purple Burst or Music Man Axis Purple Coil? I guess that's part of another conversation.
Yeah, I was gonna say I might have to scroll up there.
So I'm like, we got a EVH Purple Sparkle if you need one.
Okay.
All right.
Actually, Rody has a good question, and I know the answer.
Okay.
Or I think I know the answer. So Rody's Jam Cave asks, he says he has a Boss CS3, which is their current compressor. He says he wants to know what he's doing wrong because he's having to turn the level up to 9 in order to get the same volume with the compressor absent. So if essentially when you're compressing things, you are starting to lower the volume of those areas that are getting compressed. So like as you add compression, you are starting to lower the volume. So the volume on your compressor is essentially makeup gain. It's a makeup for the amount that you're lowering the volume on the other end. So that is not it's not unreasonable or atypical or anything weird. Like it's not anything odd about it. Like that generally will happen. Some compressors even have enough like level to actually boost. I would say most that have come out since the CS3 all pretty much have enough on tap that they, because essentially as you're adding compression, you're lowering the volume of certain spots, which lowers the overall volume. So you're just making up that volume.
Pushing it back up.
Yeah, you're just kind of leveling it back out. So yeah, I wouldn't say that's weird. If anything, if you had to max it out, like completely max it out, and you were still getting a volume drop, then I would say there's probably either an issue or maybe consider another compressor. But
Yeah, it might not be the one for you.
yeah, but that doesn't sound weird for compressors because that's exactly what happens, and that is why compressors generally have a level control on them.
All right, so does the new SDE 3000 have better routing options than the LVX, or are they about the same?
That is a good question. We haven't physically had one of the SDE 3000s in yet, so I don't know if I'm really qualified to really speak on that one yet. If anything, I think they're kind of accomplishing similar things, but doing it in a slightly different way. The idea with the LVX is that it's kind of replicating what you'd get with like a modular unit, so when you have like modular synths, sometimes they'll have like an effects bay with, individual modular units. The LVX essentially lets you, just like with outboard chains, it kind of lets you reroute what part each piece is. So like it's kind of like a recipe. You get to choose, you get your ingredients list, and then you get to put it in the right order. If you put it in a weird order, sometimes you get unexpected results. If you put it in the normal order, you'll even get like simulated analog occurrences, if that makes sense. So like if you put, like let's say you're making a tape delay sound and you want to make it behave like an echoplex, if you put all the ingredients in the right order, it'll actually behave, like the pitch will change as you warp the time. All of that will happen just like it would on like a normal tape delay. It's just that you're kind of replicating those occurrences. But I think it's cool that it lets you do that. The SDE 3000, if anything, because I think there's two of them. There's the EVH one, and then there's like the I don't remember. I think it was just the regular dual delay one. But essentially that one I think is basically built with two delays that are fully independent, and then you're getting to choose the routing options of like which ones are hitting which side and which delay and which delay's doing what. So you get some of that with the LVX, but I would say the LVX is kind of encompassing more of a, kind of like I said, more of the build your own effect. It's built on a delay, but it really ultimately is more of the build your own effect pedal.
Yeah, because you can do a ton of stuff with this.
Yeah, like it's
You
built
guys-
as a delay, but
Yeah.
you can do compression, you can do chorus, you can do pitch shifting, you can do all of those all at the same time. You can do automatic all volume swells. You can do all kinds of things, and all of those things can be singled out or combined, which is what makes it pretty. That's probably what makes it the most versatile in terms of creating your own effects, is that you can put things in places that you wouldn't normally think of. But
Yeah.
once we get the
Yeah,
SD
don't do
3000, I was gonna say once we get the SDE 3000, I'll try to wrap my head around this, because honestly I've been messing with this one for almost 2 months now, and I'm still finding new things. So.
New uses.
Mhm.
All right, well, let's give this thing a spin.
Okay. Yeah, I'm just, for the most part, going to turn Ike loose, and I'll kind of mess around. I did have one idea, though. Either you can come up with a sound that you want us to dial in, or they can. Because I figure we need some sort of direction other than just, like, fiddling with presets. I mean, we could just fiddle with presets, but...
Why don't we fiddle with some presets? You guys throw us some ideas, and we'll go from there.
Okay, because yeah, if there's a certain effect, so keep in mind like reverb is probably the like the one area of the pedal that it's not really covering, because it's built more, like I said, as a delay. But if there's any particular like chorusing effects or pitch effects or harmonies or anything like that you guys want to hear, if you guys want to see, the compression part of it would be kind of hard to demonstrate, because you guys
It's
wouldn't really.
compression, yeah.
Yeah, it's like doing compression over the internet is, I don't know. It's
We're gonna compress the compressor, because
Yeah.
it gets compressed anyway by the time it gets to you. So,
yeah.
what are we doing?
Well, it's yeah,
You know?
it's kind of a hard thing to describe. All right, so yeah, we'll go ahead and switch over. Let me see. I'm gonna go ahead and put Ike on kind of the preset I made. That was just sort of a more or less not a blank, but it's just kind of a beginning spot, and then we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah, let's do that.
Your tuning's all good. All right, so yeah, we should be back on the other mic.
Back on the vocal mic.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think so far? Because it's a lot. There's a lot of.
Yeah, I was gonna say
There's a lot going on here.
Yeah, we messed around for a bit, and then we just went to two of the first presets, which are kind of two of the more normal ones. That
Yeah.
kind of gets weirder from there, or less weird. Because I was gonna say we could even kind of show you guys some of the single elements of it. Like if you guys just want to hear what it does with a chorus, or what it just does with because the preamp and fuzz sound on there is pretty fun too.
So there's a lot going on with this pedal. So what about the functionality? Because you know more about it because you've been messing with it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as the connectivity, and does it have MIDI? Which I know it does, but
Yes.
letting them know.
So yes, it does have MIDI. Hi, buddy. Doesn't have a Ziggy, but it does have MIDI.
Ziggy's right there. So
Yeah, it
if
does.
you need them.
It has MIDI. You can also essentially, so the expression control, it does have an independent jack, or you can do it via MIDI. But you can basically put any single parameter, like anything you would change, anything you would put, anything you can put to the expression control, which is pretty cool. Because like most delays, you either like it's kind of weird because a lot of like MIDI delays, you either get like one parameter, or like maybe one or three at the most, or you just get all of them and it's all just one big like hodgepodge mess of shit. Whereas like with this, you could literally just, if you just want to manipulate the time control, or if you just want to manipulate the feedback control or the mix, like if you just want to leave it on and you just want to blend it into taste, you can do that. But you can also, you can also tie the expression to any other parameter that you've made. So damn it, I keep knocking that. If you've if you've made like a pitch, if you've made chorus, if you've made anything, you can assign any of those controls for that category to the expression.
So if you had the fuzz on here and you wanted to put the expression on the fuzz, can you do that?
Yes, yeah. So you could blend the fuzz into taste. You could also, if you had a MIDI controller, or if you were using it with your computer, like via, and I don't mean via your computer, but like if you were using it with your DAW or your digital audio workstation, you could trigger it to actually turn certain things on and off via MIDI. So like if you wanted to stay in one preset, but you wanted to turn off like the preamp or turn off the chorus or the modulation, you could just assign that to a quick switch and just and it would just cut that, keeping you in the same parameter. And what's nice too is like if you're somebody that does use delay and you like to do any kind of crossover stuff, because it's, I think you guys can kind of see it. It's a little hard to see, but like basically right below here where you see these little lights are the individual. Yeah, there you go. So those are all the individual foot switches are basically down here. Yeah, it's delayed too. But anyway, so all these foot switches are basically, you get 3 presets per bank, and you get 33 banks. So it's essentially 99 presets total that you can make and or keep, but you get 3 at any time, and then you can also hold these 2 front switches. You can hit those, and that'll get you into the favorites bank. So essentially, without having to have a controller, you have access to 6 presets at any point without having to like get over and change anything.
Start getting down and
Yeah.
doing the thing.
Yeah, so like you could dial out 6 presets and not ever have to actually get down and like change anything if you wanted to. If that's like, if you're into that stuff, or even if you want to use, again, like we were talking about, like if you just want a setting that's a compressor, or just want a setting that's a chorus, or just want a setting that's like a polyoctave, pitch shifter, you could do all of those things and then just save that as a preset. And then you have, like I said, up to 99 presets total, but they're kind of diced up into kind of blocks of
sections.
3. Yeah.
Yeah. Super cool pedal, very versatile. I did hear you guys when you guys are messing it with the fuzz.
Yeah.
I thought that sounded pretty good, pretty solid fuzz.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it's a very warm tube preamp on there too. Like that was a really good setting.
Can we dial in? You want to dial
Try to
in
dial the
something?
fuzz, yeah.
Dial in like a little bit more fuzz or an overdrive or something.
Yeah, we
Can
can
you
do
just
that.
tighten this thing up so I don't.
Yeah.
There we go. All right.
All right, let me switch that over.
Just so you guys can kind of see.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, that's fine.
No, you're good.
Oh, they're still going?
Yeah.
Just so you guys can kind of hear that it doesn't, it does more than just the modulation, more than the delay stuff, that you can get some drives out of this. So, because I know that Eric uses one of these, he's one of the dudes at the shop, who's our bass guru, and he uses this for his bass rig.
Yes. Yeah, he uses it for guitar and bass, and he kind of just made presets for each one.
Each one, yeah.
But what's cool too, you can do a bit crusher. So like if we get enough time, we'll do that too, because that's part of like the fuzz preamp category. So we'll kind of go through that part of it since we already did the delay part
Yeah.
to a point. Anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, we could go with this forever, but this is at least.
Yeah, this is a thing you can burn a whole fucking weekend on.
Yeah.
Like.
And then some.
Yeah, there's some weed and a few beers and you're good.
Yeah. Okay, should be.
All right, we're back back amongst the living.
Yes.
So yeah, a lot of interesting stuff going on there. I mean, you could dial this thing in for.
Oh, I mean, you could spend months and still keep dialing things out
Yeah.
of it. So yeah, I mean, it was really just kind of a fun thing to mess around with for a bit. Obviously, if we ever do any more videos with it, we'll let you guys know. Because I mean, there's certain things on there that could definitely warrant like a whole little video by themselves. So.
Well, yeah. I mean,
That was at
there's
least a little test. Yeah.
There's some fuzz in there, some bit crusher type things. There's a little lo-fi deal going on for a bit. There's
Yeah.
some scratchy bits that we weren't.
Yeah,
quite
I'm not sure where that
those-
little extra crackle was coming
where
because
the
there
crack-
is actually a static control, so that might have gotten introduced somewhere in there. 'Cause you can
Yeah,
actually
'cause-
add static or remove static if you want. So.
which is kind of cool.
Yeah.
Because I could hear it, and I'm like, I didn't know if you guys could hear it. I would assume you did.
Yeah, it was a
But
little
was
weird.
just
I'll
like,
have to-
where'd that come from?
Yeah.
And it's very odd. It's kind of the way they have the display.
Well, yeah, because you can do it via text or via display. So, like, that's one thing with this guy. If you go to the globals, you can actually change. Well, no, I forgot. It does have a noise gate too, which is actually pretty awesome. There we go. Where is it? I think it was the.
But what's kind of cool is that I like the way that it's set up with the way you access stuff or how you know where it is. Like there's a little circle, then there's little bubbles that kind of go off of that. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's a different way to do it.
Well, I was just saying,
haven't seen
I
anybody
like-
else do it like that, so I think
Yeah.
it's kind of interesting.
Well, because I like the way I kind of like the bubbles, just because it does end up giving you like an idea of which area you're in, and then you're kind of going from there. Oh yeah, there it is, edit page. So you can go from that to text. So that's like more of the text page where everything's kind of assigned to these little controls right here, and then you're kind of editing it from there. But I personally think the bubbles is kind of
Yeah, I kind of like the bubbles too.
yeah, just because it tells you like where you're at, and then your ancillary stuff.
I like the bubbles. All right.
All right.
So,
but yeah, that's pretty much it for our time. I think, or at least close. We got 4 minutes ish.
yeah, we got a few. 4 minutes. So Ford says thanks for the demo. No problem. We're just kind of winging this. Hat Mike, hearing Space Invaders sound on that one.
Yeah.
What's happening there?
Yeah, so during that kind of lo-fi, yeah, so you can do bit crushers on it. You can go from like where we were at, which was kind of just fuzz, all the way up to full-on just sonic destruction pretty much.
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, these guys have been messing with it. This is the first time I've actually played it. But these guys have been messing around. Well, Eric's been messing around for a while.
Well, now we know though you like that cinema setting, which is like the third preset. And that one is probably one of the better ones on there.
Yeah, so I mean,
Yeah.
I've heard these guys play it, and I was like, wow, it's pretty impressive. It's got a lot of really cool sound in it. It's got a lot of functionality if you need that much functionality.
Well, if you're a pretty creative person and you're kind of sick of always just like, because a lot of, like I said, I don't really consider this a multi-effect, but it's not really just a single effect either. So
Right.
it's walking the line. But like if you're somebody that you know, because again, a lot of multi-effects out there, you kind of just get, you know, like a chorus and you can kind of edit, you know, somewhere within, you know, the rate, the depth, maybe maybe a little bit of tone, but that's about it. That's usually as much parameters as you get. With this, not only could you edit the chorus, but you could even add the pitch control as an extra layer. So I mean, you can kind of expand and expand and expand.
But you also got overdrive. There's kind of overdrives in here. There's fuzzes, bit crushers. Like you can add, like you were saying, you know, it's kind of like having, you know, you have a wide palette to paint with.
Yeah, and you can
know,
make your
so-
own effect and then save that as a thing. So yeah, especially if you're somebody that records or you write a lot of stuff, I think this is insanely helpful for that. Especially if you're somebody writing, this thing is incredibly helpful just because it'll get you to play things. I mean, even with you kind of notice, like it gets you to play things you don't always.
Yeah, you just start exploring. Because I mean,
Yeah.
honestly, if I sat down with this just to dink around for a while, like I could come up with, you know, I mean, we're just doing this on the spot, so
Right.
it's different. You start really getting some different tones in there. Yeah, you can come up with different riffs, different sounds, time-based stuff.
Well, it'll
that
elicit
could be
playing out
very-
of you that you wouldn't even
you
know.
wouldn't
or expect.
do because it just doing this.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, elicit so much out of the thing. Yeah, it's a very give and take pedal. Like it, you know, if you're willing to put in the effort with it, you can get an amazing amount out of it. So,
Terry says, you know, pretty much another version of the Line 6 Helix. I don't know if it would exactly.
yeah, because again, the
would be
Helix
that.
is trying to do the rig in one thing. This
Right.
really is definitely, like I said, firmly more on the delay side of things, but it covers, you know, it covers all these other parameters, and you can put them in any order. So again, it's not so much that you're like covering lots of different effects and you're turning them on and off. It's so much as like you're getting to take all the ingredients and just literally make your own recipe.
It's like a goulash, or maybe.
Yeah, 100%.
What do white people eat?
Well, goulash
Isn't that a thing?
Yeah, well, yeah, goulash is
what's
it's like a hodgepodge.
Is that
It's
got
like
like
hash.
elbow macaroni in it?
Yeah, sometimes.
Is
Yeah,
that
yeah,
what that's
it does,
called?
yeah.
Goulash?
Yeah, it usually is beef and different spices, cumin. And
Because I'm like, I'm not sure that I've ever had goulash, but I just know that people used to talk casseroles and such.
yeah, but it's one of those things like you.
Like
Or even, I mean, even something as simple as scrambled eggs. Like you could give somebody, you know, some eggs and a spice palette, and like not everybody's going to choose the same stuff. Always.
yeah, that's true.
So it's like I feel like it's
Oh,
kind of
shit.
like that. Oh, are we past time?
Yeah, I was
Okay.
like, the last
All
time I
right.
looked, we had 3 minutes, and now we don't. All right, so we'll wrap it up. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for the goulash talk. Now go see our folks over at Texas Toast Guitars. Those guys are doing some stuff, and we'll catch you guys next week. Maybe, right? I'm still in town next week. Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
So catch you guys on the flip side. Adios. See you later. Later, folks.